fashion. As you can see, I'm kind of rocked out. I got some acid wash jeans, a leather jacket, and this awesome wig. Some of the accessories that a lot of the men would wear would be the one earring that you always see. The hair. Men used to wear hair ties around their pants to make them tighter, as told by my dad. Some of the things that men used to wear for shirts would be a lot of leather, a lot of denim, band tees. A lot of the pants that they would wear would be denim, acid wash, and a very popular thing to wear would be the button fly zipper, where they had more buttons and no zipper. Women's fashion in the 80s was also extremely bright and flamboyant. Normally it'd be the oversized shirts, jeans and denim, which was always a huge factor in the 80s, and you got to remember the leggings, short skirts as well, and some of the accessories that the women always wear would be scrunchies and leg warmers. Now we're going to talk a little bit about shoes and hair from the 80s. Very popular among the youth was Reeboks, or pretty much any kind of high top shoe, Nikes. Some popular hairstyles would be the mullet, and for the ponytails, long-haired ponytails for the men, and for the women was always just big hair with lots of hairspray. There were many technological advances of the 1980s. Nintendo and Atari, as told by www.liketotallyeighties.com, were Mario, Zelda, Contra, Pong, but due to the high prices of the systems, most of the youth resorted to arcades due to the price. Personal computers made a huge start in the 80s, as told by www.popularmechanics.com. Apple, IBM, and Dell all made their first initial personalized computers in the 80s. The first cell phone was also started in the 80s with Motorola. A lot of the changes in the workplace changed during the 80s due to switching from typewriters and hard copies to personal computers. Space exploration was pretty big during the 80s. It's when we launched the missions, the Columbia missions, which went on for over 30 years, starting in the early 80s. It's also when the influential, not influential, but catastrophic event of the Challenger exploding in '86 and killing 7 astronauts due to deceleration, rapid deceleration. There were a lot of styles and trends in music and television during the 80s. Some of the music would be hair metal bands, including but not limited to Metallica, AC/DC, Poison, Warrant, Guns N' Roses, as told by www.thepeoplehistory.com. A lot of the styles in the movies were very important because they promoted friendship and established it, and the build up to plots were more in depth, and it's hard to come by those in today's cinema. A couple other popular pop groups or pop singers would be Cyndi Lauper, Bruce Springsteen, and of course Michael Jackson. You can't forget him. hip hop made a huge intro into the music scene in the 80s too, with Run DMC, Beastie Boys, NWA, Public Enemy number one. Never mind, that is Public Enemy number one. Film and television is going to be my last thing I'm going to talk about. As told just by Google.com, some of the most popular movies of the 80s were Caddyshack, for humor were Caddyshack, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and movies like that. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Some of the popular action movies that came out were Die Hard with Bruce Willis, all the Rocky movies with Sylvester Stallone, and a lot of great horror movies came out and made their appearance in the 80s. Aliens, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, I hope I was able to take you back to the 80s with all the tech, music, and fashion of the time. Now that we're back to the future, I hope you learned a few things about the 80s that you haven't known previously. Now think back to your favorite aspect of the 80s. It was a great period of time where a person's individuality was really brought out in the music, entertainment, and fashion. Don't worry, it's okay to bust out the big hair or ripped jeans every once in a while.